Hong Kong Designers Association event. This event will be in English, as you all might know. So today's topic is it's one of our first events in these 2 years for our new executive exco members. It's a design entrepreneurship series, and we're delighted to be able to invite Douglas Young from G.O.D, founder and CEO, to talk about his journey from an architectural designer to becoming a Hong Kong brand, right? So let me just introduce a little bit about the Hong Kong Designers Association. Yeah. So we're one of the largest and oldest designers association in Hong Kong, established in 1972, before I was born. It's a non-profit, and we have around 900 members, hopefully more, after meeting a lot of you here. And we have many different design disciplines. Historically, it's more branding and graphics, but we also have product, interior, multimedia, web. Also, myself is interaction and user experience. We have design educators. We also have advertising, fashion, jewelry, and illustration. And we have different membership categories, and you're welcome to join us. We are a nonprofit association, so a lot of our executive committee, we are volunteers, so we need a lot of help to make this happen. Actually, we have a lot of our executive members here. Could you please stand up? Exco members, so if you have any questions, you can talk to them, okay, afterwards. Thank you. All right, and if you have any questions about our membership, please talk to Becky. Becky is standing over there at the back. Yeah, in black. Thank you. Yeah, so we're conducting this in English because we want to widen the scope to include some of our international designers. But this series will alternate. We'll have some in Cantonese. The next one would be in Cantonese and English and Cantonese to English. Okay. Yeah. So without further ado, I want to first acknowledge our venue sponsor, CoCoon. Okay, Darren is the person who's responsible for this beautiful place. Yeah, and I'd like to give him a few minutes to talk about what this is. I'm sure a lot of you are like, what is this place, right? Okay, just a few minutes, yeah.
Just need some time to start up.
Can I ask how many of you are HKDA members? Yeah. Okay. So the other people go to meet Becky, right? Okay.
Yep. Hello everyone. I'm Darren from CoCoon. So when the first time you come here, you'll say, "Wow, what a beautiful space!" Right? Agree. Yeah. And the second question will be, what is CoCoon? Well, I have a very short introduction, so later on, if you got any questions, you can ask me in the reception desk. And I would like to tell you more about CoCoon. It's a co-working space, but we are a little bit more than that. So, yeah. So this is the last page, okay? So let's come back to the first page. Yeah. Because we found that there is a really very good hold fact for the entrepreneurship in Hong Kong. As you know, the rental are high, the salary are high, and very, very difficult in Hong Kong to make a startup which can survive. Mainly due to two reasons. One is lack of resources, and one is lack of experience. So CoCoon is here to tackle this problem because this is you. Well, definitely not Douglas, okay? And most of the startup people, they usually struggle and just like jumping out of the plane with an umbrella, and hopefully they can survive. But it's not the case, right? The survival rate in Hong Kong is really low for the startup, and so that's why no parents will teach you or encourage you to do a startup, okay? So I really respect all of you. Some of them may have their own companies. You really playing very hard. So CoCoon is a space that want to help something. Because we are actually a platform, we are a social enterprise that want to gather talented people want to gather what we call the entrepreneur investors, which is take up a mentor's role, and we have paid project here. So and most important, we have angel investor here. So what we are going to tackle is we would like to gather like-minded talent. The ceiling is 400 of them, and they may know each other, and so they can find the co-founders to fight with you. And also we got mentors because we want to share the startup experience, how to operate a company, or you may ask them some questions about your business plan. And for the pay project, because it's really hard to get the first customer, and we have a chain of companies which they will put the project here, and our startup, our members, they will also put the project here. So basically, you can find some seed money to sustain your life, so you can quit your daytime job. Okay, so for the angel investor, definitely we would like those damn good ideas to get involved in the in the investment industry. So some angel investor will really like to meet some excellent startup company in Hong Kong. So we serve as a platform for them to find those great startup companies. So yeah, what we are targeting is pre-startup and just startup stage, because this is a community, not just a co-working space. So we really want other members become the resources of others. So the members need to contribute and sharing with each other with their talent. And yeah, and this is what the existing situation is, which is very, very not good. And so with CoCoon, we hope that the experience of startup people in Hong Kong will be much, much better. It will be enjoyable and very exciting. And this is our center. Besides that, please go to our Facebook, that is HKDA, to like us and keep in touch with our latest news. And this is our website, hkdcocoon.org, with all our activities and application. Just click these buttons, okay? So if you've got any questions, you're welcome to ask me. Thank you very much and enjoy the show.
Okay, so I'd just like to, can you all see us? Okay, right? So just go back to the home page. I'd just like to talk a little bit about why we are organizing the Design Entrepreneurs. How many of you are design entrepreneurs? Okay, great. Some are one-to-these, right? The reason is, let's go to the website. Yeah. We recently conducted a survey. We've got around 113 responses right now. We surveyed Hong Kong. We want to know the real situation about Hong Kong designers, okay? So, so if you scroll down, yeah. So if you type hkda.com/survey, you can continue to give feedback to us. So we asked about what kind of designers people are and how many years they've been working, and also what is the challenge right now as a designer in Hong Kong, and also what kind of events would interest you. So we actually have a result. If you go to the next page, yeah. Okay. So what's interesting is I think this is a microcosm of the situation in Hong Kong. So we actually have a lot of branding, some product, interior, multimedia. Let's scroll. Okay, and what is very interesting is a lot of us I own my own design consulting business. Okay, and also if you scroll more, and a lot of us have 10 to 20 years of worth of experience. All right, so therefore, a lot of people are actually interested in the business of design. I think a lot of you might be already great designers. And also learning about new types of design disciplines, or China, the China market. So we will have programs on the China market coming up, led by Catherine over here, some of our subcom members. Okay, so that's the reason. And so the Design Entrepreneurship Program is about, not about showing design portfolio. Douglas, so today I'll be asking you not about your design. I'll be asking you about your entrepreneurship experience related to design. Because one of the things is, as a designer, I'm sure all of you have experiences, how do you love your work and make money too? Right?
I don't have the answer.
You don't have the answer. Okay. So let's just go back to the homepage. Okay. All right. So I'll just start off with asking you some questions, right? So Douglas, I know that you were an architectural designer before. What was this?
I was trained as an architect in the UK. I did 7 years of architectural studies. I came back in the early 90s, and I practiced briefly as an architect in Hong Kong, but I wasn't happy, and that's why I started to do something related to design and architecture, but maybe on a different scale, and sort of retail sector rather than the service sector.
Right. What made you do that jump? That in the air jump?
Because I felt I was frustrated as an architect. I practiced as an architect in London. I worked in a company, and I really had a good time. I never thought that I'd leave architecture ever since I was born. I mean, even when I was young, I've always been into buildings, designing interiors, spaces, and I never thought that I'd leave architecture. But I felt the sort of architecture in Hong Kong wasn't the sort of architecture that I had in mind. I felt at the time I was still quite young, and I wanted to be creative. I felt that one of my, well, probably my only ability is really to draw and to create things. And I felt that I was wasting my gift, talent. We would call it a talent. And I thought I was wasting my time. I thought I was wasting my youth, and that's why I wanted to get out of it. Yeah.
So you were frustrated at a job. So this is the interesting point in a lot of designers' journey. Okay, you're frustrated, but how did you make that transition? Did it take you a few years, or emotional and financial concerns, to jump from being an employee to creating your own product line and brand?
Actually, it wasn't a conscious jump. I was sort of doing something on the side, and it was, this sort of sideline that became the main thing, really. I mean, I guess one has a lot of dreams in life, and not every single one of those dreams could become a reality until you meet the right person or you come across the right opportunity. And for me, I met my partner Benjamin, and we started this company together. Benjamin is also an architect who was equally frustrated in his work. And so, we both had this idea of just getting out of our career and starting something else. And I guess, I wanted to do a lot of other things too, but this was just one of those things that happened because the right opportunity came up.
Right. So what is his role different from yours?
His role?
Yes.
Okay. He does all the business side, and I do all the creative. So I'm very lucky in my company. So it's just the two of us. I have somebody that I can trust, that handles all the money side, the people, all these things I'm not good at handling, and I think to handle anyway. And I can just get on with being creative, and just.
Were you? How long? This is an interesting question for a lot of entrepreneurs. It's a partnership. Were you friends for a long time already, or how did you?
Not really, no. But we had a rapport right from the beginning. We both had the same values, we had the same tastes and things, and we just got on. It's as if we've met for a long time. It felt like destiny, really.
Oh, so you just met him, and then
and we started, within maybe 2-3 months.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Very lucky.
I see. So were there any emotional and financial ups and downs for you when you started?
Yes, all the time.
Yeah.
It's just constant.
Constant.
It's always. I mean, Darren said that I didn't look like that person. I felt like I didn't look like that person because at least that person had an umbrella. I feel like I'm on free fall a lot of the time. We're still a struggling business. I don't think after 16 years doing this, I think we're still struggling on a daily basis.
For example, can you?
Well, I mean,
specifically,
right now the rent, we can't handle the rent basically because we have some really good sites in Hong Kong, like Causeway and Citicorp and all that, And because all these international brands are coming to Hong Kong, they're pushing up the rent.
Yeah.
And
even H&M has to move, right?
Absolutely. So we're competing with these people, and they have such huge budgets, resources, that we just can't possibly compete, you know. And from the landlord's point of view, of course, they then rent to the highest bidder. So, you know, us Hong Kong companies, we're just sort of always, we're struggling. And, you know, business hasn't, I mean, business is not bad, but hasn't risen to commensurate with an increase in rent.
Right.
So, you know, it's a big headache for us.
Actually, this is specifically the reason why all these communities should talk. Because actually in CoCoon, we also have a lot of web people and e-commerce people.
I envy them.
Do you do e-commerce?
I envy them. I envy the web people.
Do you do e-commerce for G.O.D?
We do, yes.
You do?
A little bit, yeah. Not very well, but we should do better.
Ah, okay, okay. I see. And there's social media people, right? Okay. So
I think that's our future, really.
Right.
That's the future. I mean, in Hong Kong, everything's so expensive. The rent, basically, everything's sort of so space dependent, you know, in whatever we do, that I think designers are forced to go on the side of the space to have a future, which I actually don't think it's very fair. I believe that, you know, why should we be restricted to the cyberspace? Why are we denied proper, real space for us to exercise our talent and work? So it's something that I feel strongly about, and that I think we should fight for, actually.
Great, great. So when you first started, now looking back 16 years later, what do you think is something that as a designer you didn't know that you didn't know?
What is it that I've learned as a designer?
Yeah, like, you know, before you start a business, you know, you probably, there's a lot of things that you didn't know, right? I mean, a lot of us would also. What would you advise, you know, other designers? What do you think is a key ingredient? For example, a lot of designers are actually very good at designing, but then maybe not so good at managing people, scaling business, numbers, money, for example.
Right. I think there are so many things.
So many things.
I just don't know where to start.
Top three?
Top three. I think maybe marketing.
Marketing.
Okay. I think when I started, I mean, this is a very personal thing, but when I started, I thought, as long as I create the best thing, or, you know, the thing that I think that is simply better than everybody else, I would be successful. But in fact, there's so much more than just good design. It's about marketing, it's about all these other things, and it seems like good design is just like maybe 20% of a product's success. So in this world, the best known products or the best artists or creative people, they're not necessarily, I mean, the best known ones are not necessarily the best ones. Right. So I guess I was very naive. But then again, I think naivety is also useful sometimes, because if you are too jaded and you think, you know, you're cynical and you think the world is just full of bad people, then you don't have this attitude of seeing things always from a young person's point of view, you know, a fresh perspective. Because I think the thing about being creative is to not have dogmas, you know, to not have preset ideas, and see everything from as fresh a perspective as possible. So I guess it's really, really difficult to balance the reality of life, especially in Hong Kong, which is very harsh and unforgiving, and design, which is something very idealistic, something very passionate. It's not rational. I think if you're rational and lack passion, I don't think you could be a designer. At least I couldn't be. Right. So I think it's just really conflicting.
Well, they might go to finance, right? But then actually the financiers now are coming to design.
But I think Hong Kong is actually a very harsh environment for designers. And it's something that I would like to help change, because I think actually I'd advise people not to be a designer. I mean, young people. Unless they have a biological need, which I do. You know, for me, if I don't create, I feel like I'm not, you know, functioning properly. You know, biologically. So for me, it's an absolute necessity. But unless it's an absolute necessity, I advise people not to do it because you can't make much money out of it, and you get very frustrated, and you don't get respect. And Hong Kong is just simply not the place to be a designer. Right now, anyway, but we can change that. You know, those of us who are committed as designers, we should do something about it, because this is just plainly unfair, and it's plainly bad for future generations.
Right. Well, one of the things is we realize, like, our industry, we don't have much statistics, right, to even know, like, how many designers and what, you know, like, that's why we're doing that survey at a very minute level, right? So if we get more support, that would be great.
I would be interested, actually, in that survey to see what are the most difficult things designers face in Hong Kong. I mean, for me, one of the most, I think, really difficult things to overcome is this lack of patronage in Hong Kong. I mean, from all levels, from the government level down to even those that are in power, you know, the big developers, those who are in a position to commission projects, to even actually everyday people, citizens of Hong Kong. I think Hong Kong designers really suffer from a lack of patronage, a lack of support from these people. You know, the government, if they do a big project, but that doesn't necessarily have to be a big project. It could be a small project. It could be a piece of street furniture. It could be, you know, a bus shelter or something. They never give chances to young, up-and-coming designers. The way I see other countries, from Britain to America, all these countries, even Taiwan and China, you know, I see opportunities for their young designers, whereas in Hong Kong we don't have them. The big developers, they are always going, well, not always, but they are either going for the big firms, when it comes to architecture, I'm referring to either the big firms or to the international famous designer, you know, the famous labels. But the young up-and-coming designers rarely get a chance. And I mean, even from everyday point of view, you know, the shopping, say, if you go around the streets of Hong Kong, there are very few shops that are owner-operating. Most of them are chain stores, mine included, okay? But I'm talking about the ones that are actually running the little shops, the ateliers, sewing their clothes at the back and having the shop in front. I mean, these people don't get the support of the media, and as a result, the public are only interested in the international labels, all these things that are, you know, available from elsewhere. So I think the lack of support is something that is very critical in Hong Kong, and somehow we don't have this this idea of actually supporting ourselves, you know, because of the nature of Hong Kong, because of the history of Hong Kong.
Yeah.
You know, us as being a colony, we are so used to getting our direction from overseas, you know, that we forget to actually support ourselves. And I think that is something that's very critical, and it's something that we have to overcome.
Douglas, I recommend you to run for LegCo.
I'm afraid the way I speak, I think I'm going to offend too many people.
I really do think our government, we just don't have representation, right? The leaders don't get it.
I know, because the government, I think the government, well, they talk about wanting Hong Kong to be a creative economy. They want to promote more, creativity. But the fact is, the harsh fact is, creativity doesn't pay in Hong Kong. It doesn't pay to be a designer, so who wants to be a designer, you know? It's not making sense. For myself, if I was to put my investment in, rather than into G.O.D, into property, I would make a lot more money. It doesn't make sense if I could make more money by not working than working, you know? It just doesn't make sense. So how can being creative be an industry in Hong Kong? You know, it's just a hobby. It's not serious. It's really something that's very critical, and I think the government needs to address it. I mean, I'm giving the new government some chance, because maybe for once we will have some direction and vision. But for the past administrations, it's just been talk.
Yeah. Well, hopefully the situation might be changing now, because I've seen a lot of co-work space popping up in Hong Kong, and a lot of like CoCoon, right? These just happened in the past few months. And a lot of international designers are coming to Hong Kong, maybe because of US and European crisis. So, I mean, it could be interesting time.
Yes, I mean, I think I may come across as being pessimist, but I actually believe that Hong Kong will change, and Hong Kong has had that history of surviving and adapting and changing. And I'm confident that maybe not in my generation, maybe the future generation, they have a better time, but we've got to work at it for their sake.
Yeah. In fact, at the Design Association, we are advocating ban free pitching, because a lot of designers are facing free pitches from the government and also commercial entities. And also, for example, the government's tendering process is also not, very supporting creative industries, right? So we are doing our job, and hopefully, people who are interested can also support us. Yeah. But
even the tendering processes, I'm very suspicious of them because of the judges. Who are these judges? It's all it's not transparent. Whenever there's a small, maybe in a competition to do a public sculpture or something. I mean, those who are the judges, who are these people?
JPs?
They are, well, if it's Donald Trump, my God, I think it should be a crime. Bad taste should be a crime. These people should be arrested.
Unless you're on videotape.
He's gone.
Well, okay, let's go back to when you first started your business. Okay, what is your first product? How did you decide what?
To be a designer. Right now, anyway, but we can change that. Those of us who are committed as designers, we should do something about it.
Yeah.
Because this is just plainly unfair, and it's plainly bad for future generations.
Right. Well, one of the things is we realize our industry, we don't have much statistics, right? To even know how many designers and what, that's why we're doing that survey at a very minute level, right? So if we get more support, that would be great.
I would be interested actually in that survey to see what are the most difficult things designers face in Hong Kong. For me, one of the most, really difficult things to overcome is this lack of patronage in Hong Kong. From all levels, from the government level down to even those that are in power, the big developers, those who are in a position to commission projects, to even actually everyday people, citizens of Hong Kong. I think Hong Kong designers really suffer from a lack of patronage, a lack of support from these people. The government, if they do a big project, but that doesn't necessarily have to be a big project. It could be a small project. It could be a piece of street furniture. It could be, a bus shelter or something. They never give chances to young, up-and-coming designers. The way I see other countries, from Britain to America, all these countries, even Taiwan and China, I see opportunities for their young designers, whereas in Hong Kong we don't have them. The big developers, they are always going, well, not always, but they are either going for the big firms, when it comes to architecture I'm referring to either the big firms or to the international famous designer, the famous labels. But the young up-and-coming designers rarely get a chance. And even from everyday point of view, the shopping, say, if you go around the streets of Hong Kong, there are very few shops that are owner-operating. Most of them are chain stores, mine included, okay? But I'm talking about the ones that are actually running the little shops, the ateliers, sewing their clothes at the back and having the shop in front. These people don't get the support of the media, and as a result, the public are only interested in the international labels, all these things that are available from elsewhere. So I think the lack of support is something that is very critical in Hong Kong, and somehow we don't have this this idea of actually supporting ourselves, because of the nature of Hong Kong, because of the history of Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Us as being a colony, we are so used to getting our direction from overseas, that we forget to actually support ourselves. And I think that is something that's very critical, and it's something that we have to overcome.
Douglas, I recommend you to run for LegCo.
I'm afraid the way I speak, I think I'm going to offend too many people.
I really do think our government, we just don't have representation, right? The leaders don't get it.
I know, because the government, I think the government, well, they talk about wanting Hong Kong to be a creative economy. They want to promote more, creativity. But the fact is, the harsh fact is, creativity doesn't pay in Hong Kong. It doesn't pay to be a designer, so who wants to be a designer, you know? It's not making sense. For myself, if I was to put my investment in, rather than into G.O.D, into property, I would make a lot more money. It doesn't make sense if I could make more money by not working than working, you know? It just doesn't make sense. So how can being creative be an industry in Hong Kong? You know, it's just a hobby. It's not serious. It's really something that's very critical, and I think the government needs to address it. I mean, I'm giving the new government some chance, because maybe for once we will have some direction and vision. But for the past administrations, it's just been talk.
Yeah. Well, hopefully the situation might be changing now, because I've seen a lot of co-work space popping up in Hong Kong, and a lot of like CoCoon, right? These just happened in the past few months. And a lot of international designers are coming to Hong Kong, maybe because of US and European crisis. So, I mean, it could be interesting time.
Yes, I mean, I think I may come across as being pessimist, but I actually believe that Hong Kong will change, and Hong Kong has had that history of surviving and adapting and changing. And I'm confident that maybe not in my generation, maybe the future generation, they have a better time, but we've got to work at it for their sake.
Yeah. In fact, at the Design Association, we are advocating ban free pitching, because a lot of designers are facing free pitches from the government and also commercial entities. And also, for example, the government's tendering process is also not, very supporting creative industries, right? So we are doing our job, and hopefully, people who are interested can also support us. Yeah. But
even the tendering processes, I'm very suspicious of them because of the judges. Who are these judges? It's not transparent. Whenever there's a small, maybe in a competition to do a public sculpture or something. I mean, those who are the judges, who are these people?
JPs?
They are, well, if it's Donald Trump, my God, I think it should be a crime. Bad taste should be a crime. These people should be arrested.
Unless you're on videotape.
He's on.
Well, okay, let's go back to when you first started your business. Okay, what is your first product? How did you decide you would sell? Yeah, for example.
Well, we started making a sort of modern version of the folding chair. I thought ever since we started the company, we thought we wanted to make something really Hong Kong, but Hong Kong in a way that is sort of modern at the same time. Because I think very often when people talk about things that are local in Hong Kong, they accept that it's going to be kind of old-fashioned and traditional. So I sort of wondered, wouldn't it be interesting to do something that's Hong Kong but not traditional? So, and I thought that the folding chair, the ones in the Dai Pai Dong, I thought those were like one of the iconic designs from Hong Kong, which nobody knows the designer of, So we wanted to do a sort of homage to the folding chair, but sort of make it modern. And that was one of the first things we attempted.
Okay, and how did you know there was a market, or you just
well, we didn't conduct any surveys or anything, and we just did it. I mean, it was just instinct. I actually see myself as sort of like the ideal G.O.D customer, because I think my needs are, I share the sort of same needs with a lot of the other people that could be my customers. Spatial concerns, budgetary concerns, looking for something that's, well designed, but wanting to express my own cultural identity as well. I think that's quite important. So I guess we sort of came up with a brand and a collection of products to meet those demands, deal with those issues.
I see. So, and how did you decide, like, okay, did you do it in your bedroom? Did you open an office, or what did you do? Yeah. These are the nitty-gritty things that we want to know.
I do most of my thinking not in my bedroom, but, well, maybe in my bed.
I mean, with your partner?
In the bathroom. Sorry, what was that?
You know, a lot of startups, like for example, some designers might still be employed, right? And then they're doing it two things at the same time. Yeah. And then at which point you decide you should open retail or open an office, you know? Or did you just work at home and did some products and then talk to friends, or how did it work?
Well, I was sort of working on my own small design practice, and we were doing a lot of interiors, and we thought that, you know, from our clients' point of view, we've always had problems sourcing furniture and home products because we just couldn't find the things that we wanted, and that's why we thought we'd start something on the side to serve our own customers.
Oh, I see.
You know, that's how G.O.D started.
So you actually started your own company as a servicing...
As a design service company, yes.
So, okay.
And then, you know, on the side, we had this sort of retail operation.
Right.
To serve our own customers.
Right.
So that's how it started. But the thing is, the retail side overtook the design services side, and eventually we sort of more or less almost gave up the design side and just concentrated on retail.
Right. How long did that take?
Sorry,
from transitioning from servicing to...
It was we're still doing design consultancy, actually. I mean, but we are now very choosy about the sort of jobs, you know. Whereas before, we would accept more or less anything that comes along. But nowadays, because we simply don't have the time, and you know, unless it's something that really is in line with what G.O.D wants to go, it's not something that we can take on.
Right.
So we do adopt like that one, for instance. This is for Starbucks. This is a Bing Sum. It's called the Starbucks Bing Sum. And because Starbucks really wanted us to do it, you know, in our style, you know, and they just more or less gave us full, you know, freedom to do that, and it was something that we couldn't turn down and we wanted to do. But I mean, if it's somebody's home, or you know, something that we would have less control of, we would probably not be able to do those projects.
Right, I see. So when you opened retail, how many products did you have to have before you can decide to go retail? Like,
how many products?
Yeah.
I think you don't need a lot. I mean, I think you need to have a good story. I think the customers need to be able to see what you're trying to do, what your concept is, and I don't think it takes necessarily a lot of products. Look at Apple. Apple doesn't really have a lot of products. We have a lot more products than Apple, you know? But they have a great story. They have a great concept, and when people go there, they feel the whole, you know, the atmosphere, the story of the brand. You know, it just comes alive. So I don't think it's about numbers. It's about the capsule. You know?
Right. So the idea, the concept behind.
Yes, I think the concept is more important than the individual products. And I actually, somebody, an international designer once commented to me that he has a problem communicating with Hong Kong designers this idea of concept, because he thinks that Hong Kong people don't understand what concept is. I mean, I sort of partly disagree with him, but then again, when I see actually a lot of the work of some Hong Kong designers or some Hong Kong brands, I sort of understand what he's trying to say.
Can you elaborate?
Because I think concept is about everything. It's about the whole story. It's about creating almost like a movie, you know. Say if you were to create a historical drama, a concept is about getting all the details right. It's about the music, it's about the costume, it's about the dialogue, it's about the hairdo, it's about you know, everything. If it was a costume drama, a historical thing, and somebody forgot to take off his watch, now that would be a loss in concept. That would mean everything falls apart.
Right.
And I see that with some Hong Kong brands, not everything is followed through to the last detail. It's almost as if the owner got A to do the interiors and B to do the packaging and C to do the shops. And it just doesn't gel. It doesn't gel as a concept. Whereas on the other hand, I think Apple gels as a whole concept because everything from the packaging to the way the shop is done, to the attitude of the people serving you, to just every detail is consistent.
Yeah.
And to me, that is a concept.
Right.
You know, that is a story. That is a leak-proof story. And I think that's really difficult to do. Actually, I don't think we've done it. I don't think G.O.D. I mean, there's still a lot of room for improvement. Even, I mean, for us there is. So I think in Hong Kong, I think that is a very rare thing to find concepts in Hong Kong. And I think even for myself, I think that one of the reasons is because the people that I'm working with, my staff, they don't necessarily understand what is concept, you know. And that is something that I find very difficult to grapple with. And that's something that is keeping me from getting any better, from improving.
So it's really the personality of your company, right, that permutates every single thing.
Yeah, I think it's the staff. I mean, G.O.D. is not just about me, it's about the team. And we need to have a strong team. And I think I don't have a strong enough team. I mean, I'm very impressed whenever I go to, say, London, and I go to, say, the Conran shop, and I shop for furniture, and I shop for home products. The person that's actually serving me, he's able to tell me, this is a Jasper Conran design. It's almost like a football team where somebody is a weak spot. You know, you are only as strong as your weakest link, as they say. And I think that is the problem. It's a problem of exposure. I think a lot of Hong Kong designers, because of the nature of Hong Kong, we don't get that degree of exposure to the rest of the world. You know, our exposure is actually very second-hand. It's, you know, from the Style magazine or the television. It's not first-hand. And I think also that is a factor that limits our creativity.
Right. And do you mainly recruit locally, or do you recruit other people?
No, we try to have a diverse. I believe in diversity. We try to have as diverse a group of people as possible. So we have Westerners, we have locals, we have girls, boys, older people, young people. You know, we try to be diverse, and I mean, even from a disciplinary point of view, we have interior people, we have products people, we have graphics people. So we try to be diverse because very often when we do a project together, I want to hear views from all different directions.
Right. And how did you scale your team? Like, you know, from designing it yourself to, you know, maybe letting go some of that. You know, designers are, I mean, we're micromanagers, right, sometimes. How did you...
It's difficult to let go sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, I think actually I have some...
Do you still design yourself?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
But I have some good designers. I mean, I'm not saying that all my designers are bad. That sounds really bad. But I'm lucky that I have some good designers that I could really work with, and you know, I would love to let go, you know. But sometimes I can't, because if something is just not good enough by my judgment, I would just have to dabble, and they hate it. And I actually hate it too, but I just can't help it.
Right.
You know, I just have to do it because it is my name, you know, at stake.
Right, right. So what's the process? Do you come up with the idea, or the group comes up with the ideas, or?
No, it depends. I sometimes come up with the idea, but then again, sometimes I see. I mean, they tell me good ideas too. So it's. I think actually whoever comes up with the first idea doesn't really matter so much. It's in the actual process of developing the idea that is really what is interesting. You know, it's like a ping pong match. You know, it doesn't matter who serves, but it's actually in the game itself, the passing around. Because with each passing of the ball, the project gets richer because everybody endows the project with his own perspective and point of view. And it's only in that that the project becomes the ownership of the whole team, because we add our own DNA into it. So it's our own baby, the communal baby that we're incubating. And I think that what gives everybody the energy to actually take this thing through and have ownership to the thing. So I don't think it matters actually who started the project.
Right.
It's in the process and in how we all add to it and enrich it. And so it becomes, in the end, a very three-dimensional thing. That is not just mine, but everybody else's as well.
So how do you decide what to make and what would sell? Like, if it's something that you love, the customers decide. How do you know?
Because I look at the figures. The customers decide what sells and what doesn't.
Oh, so you have a balance sheet then?
Yeah, I check the figures. And
yeah.
I'm always surprised. I mean, after 16 years of doing it, I still don't know what sells.
What sells? What's your best?
I can't really predict.
Right.
I know what sells, but I can't really predict what sells. When I produce something and I think this is bound to sell, this is just capturing the market at the right moment and it doesn't sell, I'm always surprised. And when something like this is quite good, just missed it. The Delay No More range is one of our big sellers. This one, the iPhone cases. And I never thought that this would sell. I just did it out of fun, and it got us into a lot of trouble, but it also sells, so we would keep it going. That's the one. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so I think sometimes, of course, we keep the good selling things, we keep it in the range and we keep selling it as bread and butter, but we need also to do some crazy things as well, and experimental things, and very often I'll be surprised.
Right. So it's like hit or miss, or?
It's very hit or miss.
Hit or miss.
Very hit or miss.
Who are your customers? Other Hong Kong,
I
Chinese,
really can't give you a demographic. I mean, not that I don't want to, but I think G.O.D is not about a price point. People don't come to us because we're cheap or we're expensive, or because we represent a certain style. People come to us because they believe in our attitude, because we stand for certain things, and we're not for the masses. So if people like it and believe in our attitude or philosophy, they would come to us. I guess it's kind of like a brand that is like Swatch or Mini or something, Mini car, because it's not about the price. When you wear a Swatch watch, it's not because you can't afford a metal watch. It's because you like that attitude. It's like just like a Mini. You're expressing something.
Right.
So G.O.D customers can be young and old, Westerners, locals, but these are people that like our sense of humor and believe in what we're doing, and yeah, that's why they come. But then again, we also have people coming in and say, "Wow, this is so what done, there's nothing here for us, and how come it's so local, and it's so full of Hong Kong things, and I'd rather go to LV, So yeah, there are people like that too. So I think we are a brand that is either you like it or you don't like it.
Yeah. Okay. I'd like to ask more questions on the behind the scenes.
Oh, yeah.
For example, when you first started, I know a lot of product designers, if you go to the manufacturer, okay, and you say you make 100, they're like, what? Go to hell, right? like the scale, the volume, right? How did that work for you?
Well, it depends on what.
Well, that's true. It depends on how expensive it is, right?
Yes.
Yeah. How did that work for you when you were starting?
Well, it's still difficult. We're not big enough to really command the volume, so we still have to beg manufacturers to work with us.
Right.
But then some people would like to work with us. Some people, not all manufacturers are just looking at the bottom line. Some people want to work with us because they want the experience of working with us, or they like what we do and they just want to be associated with us. And these people we really treasure because it's rare that people want to work with us. And if people really have a heart to work with us, we really would try to be creative. Like for instance, KY, who's the mooncake manufacturer, first approached us to work with them. I thought, oh, there's nothing in common actually with KY and G.O.D and Big Bang and all this. And how can we work with them? But I mean, Kevin from KY is such a nice guy, and he's really sincere. He wants to work with us. And so I guess we'll just have to be creative. We just have to think of a way to work with them and find commonalities between KY and G.O.D. And we sort of found it because we ended up doing sort of funky mooncakes.
Yeah.
So I think I mean, a company our size, it's really difficult for us to get manufacturers. But if we are truly creative, then we can really make the most out of our limited resources and somehow find a way or opportunity to tackle things that doesn't seem likely to begin with. I don't know if that makes sense.
Right. So
I mean, that's what being creative is about, I think, actually.
Creative in the business.
If one is truly creative, then one could make use of limited resources.
Yeah.
I think sometimes if a company is loaded with money and loaded with resources, very oftentimes I think the solutions are not creative, are not interesting. I think it's in the struggles that we have to go through that force us to be creative. And at the end of the day, the customers can see it through the product.
So I guess Hong Kong has a lot of potential. Because we have a lot of
I think, yeah,
constraints, right?
yeah, Hong Kong has potential, definitely. I mean, Hong Kong has talent. I mean, why shouldn't we not be less talented than people outside? Of course, we have talent and we have potential, but that's not good enough. I think the potential has to be realized. It mustn't just be a potential.
Right, right. So it sounds like it really started from the person, the KY person, or your partner.
Well, KY was one of the good experiences we had, but it was just an illustration of how when something is completely unlikely, that I think creativity can happen. It's like Starbucks, you know, when Starbucks approached us to do something, again, you know, Starbucks and G.O.D, what is there in common? Nothing.
Yeah.
And we could have said, no, you know, we don't want to work with you. We want rather work with a company that can give us plastic molding and, you know, volumes and this and that. But because they were sincere in their approach and they genuinely wanted to work with us, we found a way to make it work.
Yeah, that's very interesting because it did not start with the product. It started with the relationship, and then the product or the idea emerged, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It started with a situation, and it's like an opportunity, I guess.
Right.
And the opportunity turned out to be a design solution.
Right. Right. So, having started your business, what kind of skills do you think design entrepreneur needs, other than design? Like what are the key skills?
I think the skills. Actually, I don't actually think the skills are very interesting. The skills are just the technical skills, whether or not you can do Photoshop or AutoCAD or nowadays SketchUp. And these are the technical skills which anybody can learn. But I think to be a designer is about having a certain attitude to life. I guess it doesn't matter. I think I truly believe that as a designer, I could also be a musician or a writer or a movie maker or all these other things. But because I have technical skills, because I can use Photoshop, I can use AutoCAD, that I'm a sort of product architect kind of designer. But actually the technical aspects is not important. For me, what is important is the message behind what I'm trying to do, you know, the philosophy in life. And these are, the skills are just the technicality that enables me to express how I feel about this world. Yeah. I think to be a designer, one must have some sort of sense of mission, you know, of wanting to change this world. It sounds very naive and idealistic and everything, but I think without that degree of angst or the desire to make some change, I would find it very difficult to find the energy to wake up on a daily basis and go through the struggles that I go through.
So it's a passion in a way, right?
Yeah, it's a sort of burning fire.
Right.
It's something that is not quite done yet. I still feel that I haven't done what I wanted to do. Nowhere near, and that makes me quite angry and makes me full of energy as well.
How do you lit the fire in your employees?
How do I lit the fire? I don't know. I just challenge them all the time. Actually, one thing that I think people would notice when they come, if they come work for us, is they notice that we joke a lot. We really joke a lot.
Joke a lot.
Joke
okay.
a lot in the studio. We say outrageous things, and it's a
It's a
it's
culture
a very
you're building. It's a culture that you're building, right?
Probably. I think the thing that we share is humor. Even though I feel that design is a serious business, but actually I like to inject a lot of humor into design, and even the atmosphere of the company is very relaxed, and we often joke, and we often say, what if? Wouldn't it be funny, or wouldn't it be crazy if something like this happens? And we try to make it happen. I guess it's something that balances out the seriousness of what our work is about.
So when you recruit people, what do you look for then?
I look for their sense of humor.
Sense of humor.
I wanted to see these people share that same sense of humor as we do. Because I think sense of humor is something that cuts through all the crap, If people, I find, from my personal experience, those who share my sense of humor are likely to be people that I can work with.
Right.
We have the same values and priorities in life.
So it comes back to attitude.
Yeah, the attitude to life. How do you see? Are you a conservative person? Are you what political views, or what views do you have with the world? All these options, variations come together when people share the same sort of humor.
Right. So when you work with, for example, your partner, do you argue, and how do you overcome them? Like being, it's a big deal, right?
Yeah.
Being a business partner.
Of course, yes. We have our heated debates. We argue. I have sometimes I have these ideas that I'm very enthusiastic about, and you sort of gun them down. And it happens, but I think it's good to have a partner because I'm somebody that is very kind of like hot-blooded when I'm thinking something, and I tend to just fall for something. But I also believe that I need somebody to actually sometimes pull me back and balance me. It's almost like binocular vision, If you just close your eyes, you think you can see your way, but in fact you're not seeing three-dimensional perspective, But if you have a pair of eyes, then you can truly see three dimensions. And I guess having a partner is kind of like that. I need somebody to actually guide me, if I'm straying too far from one direction, to pull me back.
Yeah.
And I think likewise for him.
Well, it's interesting that you're aware of it. That you're aware, because some designers might be like, I'm everything.
I think
right?
sometimes, I'm just speaking from personal experience. I'm sure there are designers that can just handle both aspects. It's just I can't, I have my limitations.
Right. So your partner deals with the sales.
That's my partner, by the way.
The back.
He's very shy.
In the underwear?
Even though he's using the urinal in public, he's very shy.
Oh, I see. So, and so does he deal with the sales and distribution stuff, or?
Yeah, all the technical, boring stuff.
Boring stuff. You get the nice job, huh? I see. So, can you tell us about?
Actually, I spend a lot more time in the studio than he does. At work than he does.
Okay.
Yeah, he's just always in meetings.
Right. Do you do any sort of like licensing or royalties of your products?
Yeah, that's something that we sort of license out. Actually, it's a failed product, but I thought it was a good product. It's failed not because of us. It's a BlackBerry. It's a BlackBerry playbook. We developed this playbook in the shape of like a bamboo, book, Chinese bamboo book, so that you could just hold it like like a traditional Chinese book, like that. Or you can rest it on a table and type on it, like the next slide, I think, yes. It's a tilted surface, so you can just type on it. Yeah, we do licensing of our brands or our designs. We've just opened our first franchise store in Singapore, and we'll be opening another one in China, Guangzhou.
Guangzhou.
Next month.
I see. Great. How did you learn about licensing and all that stuff?
We're still in the learning process. We don't know. We just sort of do it as we go along. Yeah.
Okay, right. And so you would what? Patent your products and then?
No, well, we're trying to patent, but it's not no use patenting anything. I mean, especially in China. I mean, there are G.O.Ds in China, so, and already, and in Malaysia too, so I mean, we're not really in a position to sue these people. I mean, if LV is not able to sue their copyists, I mean, who are we, So maybe we should be glad that people are copying.
Yeah. How do you do it? I heard in one of your talks, like, somebody copied your pants.
Actually, it's coming up, and I think I just saw briefly a picture of this pattern that we designed that somebody copied. But in that occasion, it was a big American company, and that's why we were able to get them. But if it's just a small Sanzai company in China, we would never be able to get them.
Right.
But in this case, it was.
So they're worth suing.
Yeah, we tried, but most times we fail because we just can't catch the people. This is our shop in Singapore, and we've used this red lantern, the market lantern, as like an icon. It's almost like a logo to signify the shop.
How did you choose to open the stores in certain locations, like certain cities?
Again, I mean, we can't afford the best location. So in this case, the franchisee is actually the landlord to this shopping mall. It's in Clarke Quay, and it's about 6,000 square feet.
I see.
I'm keeping a watch on that thing that comes up. I always show that example because it's a good example of how a Hong Kong brand or Chinese brand is being copied by the West. Because very oftentimes we hear that the East likes to copy the West.
Right.
So this is an example of how the West copied the East.
Yeah. I think you're one of the first person to make people realize to respect your own culture, right?
I don't know. I mean, there are people like Alan Chan and Vivian Tam that I admire greatly, and they came before me. And so I think it's a very interesting time to be a designer right now in Asia, this part of the world, because I think it's safe to say that during our lifetimes, and actually the lifetimes of everybody in this room, we would see the rise of the East. And we've seen the economic rise, and historically, the cultural rise would also follow, or not, at least, if not follow, but in tandem with the economic rise. So I think the interest in Asian culture can only grow. And I think there are still so many interesting aspects of Asian culture and tradition that could be relevant to the future world. That I think it's a hugely valuable set of resources that we could harness.
So in the upcoming years, what do you think is your future challenge, or
Well, the future challenge, I guess, is to break out of Hong Kong, because I think we've reached a saturation point in Hong Kong. I think
in terms of real estate,
in terms of expansion, because it's reachable. And I guess since we've spent all this time developing a range of products, our own design and our own manufacture, it doesn't make sense to just restrict it to Hong Kong. We should show the world, and that's something that G.O.D can do, because we are the originators of our products. This is the design. This is the newspaper ad pattern that we designed. I mean, those of you who read the Chinese newspapers would see that that is from the classified ads, and you can see that there are phone numbers and then names. This is that last pair of pants. Yeah, I came across in Italy when I was skiing, and I immediately recognized it as my newspaper printed pants, at least design. But it's actually not made by us, but made by Burton. Burton is a big snowboard gear maker. And well, I stopped that person. I was on skis, he was on snowboard, so I was faster than him. And I said, where did you get your pants from? And he said, it's from Burton. And my immediate thought was that it's a fake pair of Burton, because Burton being one of the, well, being the biggest snowboard gear maker, would not copy, surely they would not. But when I got back to the hotel, I went on to the official Burton website, and I found that it was indeed for sale in the Burton website. The pants, the jacket, the bag, everything. So I bought the a set, and if they deleted your work G.O.D, then it becomes just a plain old set of newspapers, so it doesn't belong to you, and you can't sue them. Luckily, I had a second look at the design, and I realized, the telephone numbers, they look very familiar. They are my shop. On all the various G.O.D shops. And luckily, Burton did not change the phone numbers. So anyway, our lawyers were able to sue them, and we got reasonable compensation.
That's great.
Thank you. So that's a story I always share with young designers, because I always tell them you have to stand up for yourself.
Right.
Mustn't be put down by everybody else. Hong Kong is actually, we're under onslaught of everything from overseas, and we have to really stand for ourselves. China, is rising so quickly. All these cities, even Guangzhou, it's overtaking us, and of course the West as well. We are in a very competitive environment. We have to support ourselves. We have to love ourselves, and we have to be together, because this is serious. We're fighting for our survival. So I always like to share this with young designers, to tell them that, hey, we mustn't be put down.
Yeah. Always have your name somewhere, like. So lastly, what are the top 3 advice you would give for design entrepreneurs in Hong Kong?
Don't start. If you haven't started, don't start.
3? Well, if they want to start.
I think actually work together. Work together, because I think as a designer, our tendency is actually work in our own studio and shut ourselves out from the outside world. But I think actually to collaborate and work with others and see others more as collaborators rather than rivals would be a good thing. Actually, I would like to work with you guys. I mean, if any of you is interested to work with me, maybe we can work together, because I'm sure, like for example, even right now at G.O.D, you will find work of other Hong Kong designers there selling. And of course, we have certain conditions. Like for instance, the most important one is that I think we need to sell something of a high standard. Of course, I'd love to support Hong Kong designers, but what they sell in our shop has to be of a standard that I judge to be worthy of everything else. That's very important, because after all, it is our reputation at stake. So I hope you understand that. The other important criteria that we would like to have is for these people that we work with to actually supply us with things, rather than actually give us a design and say, okay, this is your design, and please produce it and sell it for us. Because actually, as I said, the design is just 20% of the product's success. The marketing, the manufacturing, manufacturing and convincing the manufacturer to make it, that is a lot of work. And the development of the product is a lot of work. I think a lot of designers think, especially young designers, they think that, oh, design is all, and the design is worth a lot of money, and it's worth so much. Of course, the design, without the design, there will be no design product.
Right.
But having said that, the design process is a lot of work. And so we would love to work with people that can actually provide us with a finished product, and we could supply them with a platform that is open to the public, and of course we would acknowledge them as well as the designer and the name, and we would share the profits. I mean, this is definitely one way we could work.
So consignment, right? Were you talking about consignment, where they bring the product and
yes.
sell it in your
yes.
store? Right?
Yes,
okay.
yes.
I see.
We could even let them have a space. I mean, there are designers in our shop that that we're giving them a complete space. So it's more than consignment. We're actually giving them expensive retail space where we can pay the rent of. So we would like to work with them. But the thing is, the G.O.D brand is about Hong Kong culture as well. So of course, we would love to work with designers who also believe in this this ethos of modernizing things that are Hong Kong, of making Hong Kong people proud of being who we are. This is again something that we are looking for. So, and so if you want to be interested, please, you can find me at G.O.D. I read all the emails that come into the office. So,
great.
and we also have projects sometimes, like for instance, we are really trying to work on we have a very good possibility of working on a hotel project, and maybe a
G.O.D hotel?
A G.O.D hotel, or at least, okay, it wouldn't be called a G.O.D hotel, but it would be a hotel that's designed by G.O.D, by a local developer who has a sense to see that we should have a Hong Kong-styled hotel in Hong Kong. I think we have so many hotels in Hong Kong, but not many of them, or I can't think of anyone that really offers visitors an authentic local experience. I mean, after all, you visit a place like London or Paris, you would want to stay in a hotel that gives you the local spirit. Whereas in Hong Kong, you can only stay in Western-style hotels.
Right.
Even in Bali, in these Thai resorts, you get the local culture. We never get that in Hong Kong. So if somebody recognizes that and asks us to do something, maybe it's an opportunity for me to work with other designers as well, individual rooms or the products and whatnot. So.
And you might have a Thai Pai Dong in that hotel, right?
Yes, but it's a luxurious hotel. So
okay.
The challenge is to do something that's local but somehow luxurious. Of course, it could be Thai Pai Dong, but I think if we can somehow capture the essence of Thai Pai Dong and then make it comfortable and luxurious, that would be the key.
Right, a really expensive pop out, right? Okay, I think what you recommended just now about collaborating is a really important point, because I think Hong Kong, without collaboration, I mean, in the past, a lot of us are really just working in silos, right? The communities are siloed. And the thing is, just across the border in Causeway, they have design departments that are more designers than people in this room, right? And if designers in Hong Kong don't gel together, really wiped out, I think, yeah. So I'd like to open to the floor for other people to ask questions, yeah? And you can speak Cantonese too, and we can translate. Please, can we give yeah. Anybody? Why don't you stand up? Yeah.
Just a question. Since you said you have some difficulty in marketing, I find a lot of your product you like to use the slightly little more, so long, and also what else? But it's a lot of this kind of concept. But do you do market research first, or you just say personally like this kind of culture?
Okay, we don't do market research. Market research, well, it's quite expensive, and I hope I'm not offending anybody, but I don't believe in it. I don't believe in market research, and I believe the great man Steve Jobs said the same thing as well, because it is something that doesn't exist. It's something that is an invention, if it's something that's new, something that the public has never seen before, you can't really do market research on them because you can't sell them, you can't tell them, you can't ask them, what do you think? Would you want this? Because it's something that they've never expected. It's a perfect surprise. So you would not be able to get any figures on something that has never existed before. And that's why I think for my company, market research doesn't work. I think maybe for some other companies, maybe it does. But I think for companies that try to really break the mold or bring to the market something that's genuinely new, market research doesn't work. And back to the later morning, I believe that designers should sometimes be challenging. I actually believe that most of the things that we do are not necessarily so sensitive, culturally sensitive. Actually, most of the things we do are retro or just plain fun or just trendy or whatever. It's just that some of the things, a very small amount of the things that we do, tend to be very sensitive, and people pick up on that. The media picks up on that. Okay, that's partly marketing, but I also believe that actually to be a designer, you need to be challenging. Sometimes you need to be shocking, and I find that actually of all the artists, musicians, creative people that I know from history, I'm thinking of Picasso, I'm thinking of Stravinsky, I'm thinking of Nabokov. All these people, their work is shocking when it first appears. It's only in time that we become used to it. And I think it's necessary to sometimes shock as a designer. And I think the problem with Hong Kong is that the general society is very conservative. And I don't think it's possible to have creativity in a conservative society, in a society that's basically conservative and comfy and pushy. And I think that's anathema to being creative. So I think sometimes I feel anger and I feel the need to shock. But then I also have parameters. I feel that delay no more may sound like something in Cantonese, but actually I don't cross that line. I believe by crossing the line, I am entering into a zone that I don't want to enter. I set myself certain limits. There are other limits that I set myself. For instance, generally I don't talk about politics. I'm not interested in politics. I'm not interested in people's religion, and so I don't deal with these issues. I think it's Delay No More was something that I wanted to do because it was very Hong Kong. It requires the person to understand both English and Cantonese in order to get what I'm trying to do. We always try to do the Delay No More products in a very non-retro, sort of traditional Chinese style. It's always very modern. So it's a way for me to deal with Hong Kong culture, but in a visual style that is completely nothing to do with Hong Kong. I get a kick out of people getting pissed off. And I think it's so right for Hong Kong too, Delay No More, because Hong Kong, we are very behind in a lot of issues in Hong Kong. I think Hong Kong is facing some urgent problems and issues, and that we need to deal with, and we're not dealing with them. So that's why I say to people, delay no more.
I asked this question because I think basically the concept is quite consistent. You use more and more pattern and slogan based on this kind of culture. But I asked whether you have done the market research. Just because you keep on creating this, I think the marketing is work. Otherwise, you won't create this pattern and this kind of slogan, you won't sell, right? But I just want to ask a marketing effect. So based on that, if you could what can you mooncake is all selling good?
Yeah, we sell mooncakes.
So Hong Kong people really like this kind of language or
well,
culture?
some people hate it too. So, but there are enough Hong Kong people that likes it to keep us going, I guess. There are people that hate it. They don't want, of course, it offends a lot of people.
Yeah, if you know that there will be a high risk before you make decision to produce this, even you KY, they involved, they would ask.
Of course, and thank you, Kevin, for taking the risk. Of course, there is risk. I mean, I don't actually have a very good answer to that yet because I've only just started overseas. So I don't know what is the right answer. But I believe that if we go overseas, we should even be more Hong Kong. And that is why when you go to the Singapore store, you will find only things that are very Hong Kong or just designed by G.O.D. or designers for G.O.D. that are expressing this Hong Kong spirit. I guess the logic is that if a company like, for instance, Agnes B, and they come to Hong Kong, you notice all their advertising marketing is in French. You know, why should it be in French? It's just like Muji as well. You know, you see the adverts in the MTRs in Japanese, and they even have because at the end of the day, the reason why people are buying LV or Ferrari or Muji or MSB is that actually in the back of their mind they're buying this Frenchness or Italianness. You know, it is the flavor of that country. And I guess if you apply the logic to G.O.D, what is the advantage of buying G.O.D? It has to be the Hong Kong spirit, right? You want something that is unique to Hong Kong. So that's why my instinct is when I go overseas, actually I need to be more Hong Kong. Yeah.
Are you positioning G.O.D as a Hong Kong brand or a Chinese brand? Like,
wow.
This is about politics. Hey, we'll talk about China.
She's getting me into trouble. No, I think Hong Kong is it's a Hong Kong brand. It's a Hong Kong brand, and Hong Kong is a Chinese city, you know.
Right.
Hong Kong is a New York. DKNY, is that a New York brand or is that an American brand?
Right.
So Hong Kong can be both Hong Kong and China. Yeah.
Good answer.
No, it's true. It's. But then Hong Kong is a bit of an anomaly. You know, it's like Venice. Venice is Venice, but it's technically it's part of Italy. But if you've been to Venice, it's unlike anywhere else in Italy, and that's fine. I think that's great. That's why it exists. That's why it exists in our psyche. It has a distinct identity. You know? And I think Hong Kong's strength is also in its distinct identity because of the language we speak, because of our history, because of our diversity, because we have an international culture, etc., etc. All these things give Hong Kong that edge, and we must really retain it. It doesn't matter whether we're part of China, you know, politically or whatnot. But the fact is, we have our unique identity, and we need to emphasize it. That's the important thing.
Great. Other questions? Yeah.
Hi.
So how do you scale the brand? I mean, like from the beginning, were investors involved, and like as like upcoming designers, you know, how do they even find these investors? Like in Hong Kong, you know, as you have mentioned, a lot of people they try to like bring in outside brands, but how do you actually find people who would be attracted to like a local brand that's trying to build up themselves in Hong Kong?
You're talking about investors.
External investors. Were external investors involved in G.O.D's growth?
Yeah, it's very difficult. I mean, design business is not a money-making business. It's
Right.
I mean, it's structured.
Don't say
why
words like this.
why would people invest in something that's not profitable compared with something else, you know? So I wish I can't really answer your question. I really don't know the answer to that.
So how do you try and scale that, like the brand? Like do you try to use like your service business to power the wholesale, the manufacturing? You need the cash flow and all that, right? Like was it more leaning towards you started like let's say more on wholesale side and then you moved more towards the retail? How did that shift happen?
We're still mainly retail, not so much wholesale. But all these questions you really should address to my partner Benjamin.
You just focus on the creation.
When it comes to that, finances. I'm really sorry to disappoint you, Mr. Flex, what does Foursquare mean, by the way?
It's a .com. Oh, it's a startup in the States. User location based, check-ins, exploration. I'll tell you more about that.
Other questions?
You mentioned about humor, you mentioned about joking a lot in the studio, and there are some cases that you mentioned that actually there's a line when you're doing the design process where the little more actually is almost on the volume. Can you just give us some cases? Let's say we see a lot of very successful cases, just like Mooncake, and they know more, all these things. And to be honest, actually my children love the Mooncake. They have it every year. And but can you share some cases that which fail or during the design process that you think that is beyond the line, you won't do it? And how do you make that decision within the whole process?
Yeah, we have a lot of failures. I mean, my biggest failure from a money point of view is to open a shopping mall. I call it the mall actually, in Causeway Bay, and it was just completely disastrous, and we learned really lessons from that. And we famously got arrested over T-shirt designs as well, and we had to shut down the business. Yeah. But these were all experiences, and so, I mean, some people could say that depending on how you look at it, you look at it as negative, or you can look at it as positive as well. But they were valuable experiences. I think it actually, with every failure, I find that I have more energy to try to make the next thing a success. Because I learn from that, and I feel, I have to do this. And I think it makes me feel young as well, because I feel that the day that I can't face failure or I can't take on a challenge is when I'm really old, because only old people give up when they fall, and I like challenges, I like to take risks, and I like the process of learning something and forcing myself to succeed. So I like that, but of course, in every attempt I make, most of the time I don't succeed.
Before you make that decision, do you have a group of, all the designers sitting down together to project the scenario or whatever?
We try to be we try to predict all the outcomes. Of course we try, but it's always changing. Things are always changing. I would like, before we take on something, I would like all those that are involved to believe in it too. Actually, there are a lot of things that I would like to do, and yet if I don't get the support of my partner or my designers, those things will not happen. I like everybody in my team, or at least the majority of the people in my team, to really believe in whatever new venture we try. So it's not just myself. We help each other to succeed.
Other questions? At the back? Okay, great. Well, we're going to have networking right after this, but let me just talk about our next events. So this is the number one, in our Design Entrepreneur series, and we're going to have hopefully once every month. The next one is going to be Prudence. Can you stand up for us? Chocolate Rain? Yeah. September 8th, okay? And then also, we're going to have a Designers Putonghua. For those of you who need to work in China, and for designers, we've actually designed a program for you so that you can communicate more fluently and understand all the cultural nuances. So if you're interested interested, please go to see Becky. There's a description of what you would know, especially, you know, Hong Kong Cantonese people can't speak Mandarin properly sometimes, you know.
That's good. We should stay that way.
Yeah. And then also, Catherine, one of our excos, she's responsible for organizing the Designer's Voice. Hopefully you'll be every first Saturday of every month. And it will be a platform for designers to showcase their work, and also we can talk about important topics. For example, recently there is this you know, electrical law, right? About, you know, what if you make Donald Trump look really funny, you know, in a cartoon? Like, what happens to that? So, and also upcoming also China Forum. We have another subcommittee who will be responsible for organizing events, talking about when you go to work in mainland China, you know, what are the things you, people share, designers sharing their experiences. So there'll be a bunch of events coming up. So I'd like to thank Douglas very much for your